guess why it took a little bit to start is because there could be a polished version to my story for episode 1, or there could be the raw kind. And I guess I kind of went back and forth in my mind of how much to let people in and how much should people know and what needs to be shared, what not. And I think I came to a conclusion that Chaos Before Peace, essentially, it's my story, it's my art I want to share with the world, it's who I am, and it should be led with the authentic story because I think it'll inspire many, inspire a lot, and show people anything is possible.
It died. This is awful. Um, I don't know how to start this. I don't know how to start this company. Every time I go to start, every time I go to put out, I feel like it's not right, it's wrong, and I second guess. So this year, 2026, I promised myself that I'm going to start, and I'm going to finish, and I'm going to execute. So my name is Sydney. This is CBP Voice, episode 1, and this is the real, honest version of how I got here. Um, 3 things you should know before we start. 1, I'm insane. 2, I'm a Gemini. 3, logic is like last to me. Okay. So when you hear these things and you're like, she's insane. I told you that already. B voice, what are we doing? Let's backtrack though. Let's go back. Last year, February, I had the opportunity to work in Miami with my company. Now, I had only been working with my company for about 5 months at this time, and everyone's like, oh, they're not picking you. Like, you're not going. I ended up going. They told me I was going Friday, um, leaving Monday. Black girl going to Miami. Didn't even have time to get my hair braided. Did not care. So pressed, so excited. Couldn't get any better. Living in Miami. What? Come on. Here's the kicker. As soon as I get off the flight, they start uploading our schedules. Now, I thought I would have the same schedule I had working back at home. No, they had other plans. They put me overnight. Overnight. Now, when I first saw overnight, and then guess, no, okay, not only was it was overnight and it was Wednesday to Sunday overnight, Sunday, like Sunday that day to Tuesday, like Wednesday that day off. So not only was I overnight, but I was also overnight literally only the weekend. You know, I had a fit. I was 22 at the time, and I'm like, I didn't come out there to, like, I'm not really into anything crazy like that. If that's what you think this story's gonna go, it's not that type of person. But I still wanted the opportunity. Like, I still didn't want to work overnight. Like I just did not want to be overnight. I was calling my mom saying I'm coming home. Our team leader, I was telling her to call them, tell the people I'm going home. Like, tell them I'm not doing it. Like, I don't know who I need to talk to, who needs to hear this, but I'm not staying. I ended up staying, and I didn't know at the time. What I know now is Miami was my first part of unlocking this puzzle, this life. Now, in Miami, for the first time, I had time and complete sovereign time over the first better half of my day. What I mean by that is, think about it. From birth, we have parents. We then have schedules from schools. If you're an athlete, you have schedules from your athlete. You have schedules from your practices. You then, if you are a parent, grow up to be a parent, you have your kids' schedules. If you have a spouse, a partner, you have your spouse. So, our entire life, our day, typically depends on someone else. And for the first time in my life, I had my day depending on no one but me, no obligation but to me. Having this time, I learned who I am so fully and learned just how much joy comes from having your days to decide, oh, today I just want to lay by the beach. Oh, today I just existing as a human as we should. Miami was my first little bug of, oh yeah, I, Miami was my first little bug of, oh yeah, no one is ever having control over my days ever again. I ended up being in Miami from February to beginning of May. And as soon as I came home, it's like everything was like boom, 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 boom. Stay with me. Okay. We come home May. I'm home in May. My birthday is May 28th. May 27th, I'm driving into work. I throw up that morning. I throw up as soon as I pull into work in my lap. And then I threw up on post while working. Now, someone I was working with, my coworker, he heard me and ended up getting me help, and I was able to go home. Luckily, my birthday, I bought myself VIP Beyonce tickets, and I had cruise control on my Tesla, so it self drove us all the way to New Jersey. And I don't know, as soon as I got out that job, I ain't gonna lie, about 20 minutes down the road, I'm like, wow! But yeah, no, had best birthday ever. Unfortunately, due to it raining the entire time and me having no shoes or jacket, I had a hoodie that I bought, but no real sustainable like rain clothing. I suffered mild hypothermia and a double ear infection. So I proceeded to miss maybe at least another week and a half of work once I came back. So it was early June. Okay. So early June, when I came back, my coworkers, they're like side eyeing me, and I'm like, what? Not all of them. It was some of them. I'm like, what? Like, some of the ones who know me, and I'm like, what? And they're like, oh, so and so said like you were hungover throwing up, and I'm like, what? No way. I'm like, no way. I'm coming into work, back to work to like thank him, but I'm also coming into work still recovering from whatever I had, not knowing if like May 27th was the start of it and it was like a bug that I just let get worse, or, if Beyonce, the Standing in the Rain, it was separate. I don't know. But I was still recovering after still like not even being there. And I was coming to say thank you to him. Once my coworkers are like, oh yeah, what he said, I like found him. And I'm like, why would you say that? What are you doing? I'm like going at him because I was the youngest person on my job, and my job that I came out of school to was a job paying six figures. And so I was not in the position to have anything like that circling around my name. And it was very false, as you will learn, and you know me. And as you will learn and get to know, that's not in my character, especially showing up to work. Um, yeah, I aired him out, whatever. I want to say about 2 days later, we ended up working again in the same vicinity of each other. And for some odd reason, he had a water bottle that intrigued me. And I asked him about it, and he was telling me how it had like filtrated what, like this conversation, again, puzzle piece collected. It's like, I don't know those things where it's like you collect it and it's like, I don't know, another puzzle piece collected, all right? So he's telling me that the water that was in there was like hydrogen water that he has like filtrated in his home. And basically, he was a 53-year-old where he was 53, but I forget which type of testing, but his age on his body was of a 43-year-old because he was so physically fit and healthy. And he put me on to so many different health and wellness podcasts. And prior to this conversation, I would like to say I was pretty healthy. Not as healthy as I am today, but I still was very healthy. Processed foods was to a bare minimum. Wasn't eating sugars, red 40s, don't drink soda juice, like all of that. Like I was already pretty healthy, working out consistently, like living that life. Talking to him and understanding that you can learn yourself a lot deeper than what I had learned, it sent me into a kind of rabbit hole of my own. And I decided that day I wanted to learn Sydney as full as possible and as deeply as possible. And I started learning the origin of my name, what it means, my birthday, my numerology, my human design, like genetic DNA, everything you can learn about yourself. I started learning that. And in a lot of it, I learned my purpose here on this earth. And what it revealed was a communicator and essentially a creative field of what Chaos Before Peace is. Now, before some of you go like, oh, so because of your research and your purpose of why I'm here, yes, that could be why I actually am doing this. But second, Chaos Before Peace, this company, I've been working on the idea of whatever this could be for about 5 to 6 years at this point, up until like, actually starting to know what it will be. In the beginning, it was the name of a spam page. And then in my junior year of college, I was contemplating making it a streetwear company. So I've always had this inkling. However, I was always ignoring it due to maybe money scarcity or other people's projections, or just the path that you go down in America, where it is easier and better to conform than to break out the norm. And I think that was who I was up until now, of course. But he inspired me to learn myself as deep as possible. And through that, yeah, discovered that. Now, knowing this, seeing that, that was ultimate confirmation of like everything I had known about myself was literally true, and I was ignoring it, but I don't have to. Well, I was decided that day, after accumulation of days, after learning several things, I decided, okay, I'm going to work on Chaos Before Peace and work this job. But in September, when I started this job, I gave myself only a year at this job regardless. However, July, it was still not a year yet. Okay? All right. Yeah, so learning, where are we? So yeah, this is June, learning um who I am, why I'm here, and it pointing to literally this. All right. June 16th, I get in a car accident. It's not my fault. I end up re-injuring prior injuries of my right knee and my left shoulder, and I chipped my tooth. I missed about a week of work, and I still went back, still going. I say July 20th. When I went back, I was still working on CBP at this point. Chaos Before Peace was something really real, and It wasn't published yet, but it was real to me, and I knew I was going to execute this idea, whatever the idea may be. It started as the podcast. When I came back to executing it um, this go round meaning no, when I went to execute it um, officially last year. June 16th, I get in a car accident. It's not my fault, but I ended up re injuring my right knee and my left shoulder. They were injuries I had from my athletic career. And I chipped my tooth and a concussion. I missed about a week of work. And once I got into this car accident, it's really hard to explain, but I felt within myself kind of the first nudge of like, all right, you know what you should be doing. You still shouldn't be working at this job. Ignoring it, I stayed working and stayed working and CBP. Come July 20th, I was in Philadelphia and something happened. My mind was racking. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do yoga. Had no business doing yoga that morning. I was supposed to get home. Um, Ended up going to yoga, tearing my hamstring. Now, when I tore my hamstring, I knew immediately. I'm an athlete and I've suffered plenty of injuries. I know when I'm good. I know when I'm hurt. And I heard it. So the person, regardless, I knew immediately. However, the feeling I felt when I tore my hamstring outside of the physical was such a calming response that I have the video still on my phone. I recorded the whole way home like, this is my sign. This is time. This is go now. This is literally Miami was the whisper. The car accident was like, all right. And this is now like, okay, you have no choice. Like, execute what you know you're supposed to be doing. And for me, it was like, I'm going to do it. And for the first time, I chose myself. Now, in choosing myself, in choosing this path, did I ever imagine what was to come? Heck no. Would I do it again? Yes, because I wouldn't be the me I am today, the Sydney creating, telling, orchestrating this entire company without going through very specific things. Hence, chaos before peace. Tearing my hamstring due to the circumstances of my job that rendered me unfit to work, and therefore I was unable to work. Now, I could not get a doctor's appointment until August 13th. So from July 20th to August 13th, and actually past that because I didn't find out my hamstring was torn until about like the 23rd. Um, I had no income. I had no idea what was wrong with me besides my knee and my shoulder, my hamstring, the pain. It wasn't confirmed by a doctor. I just had my CBP dreams. That's it. In the midst of all of this in my CBP dreams from the car accident, the person who hit me had the exact same insurance I did. Therefore, my insurance company was doing the bare minimum because they were going against themselves. I dropped my car off June 18th, I'm pretty sure, and I am just now getting my car back this year, this year, January 16th. Dropped it off last year, June 18th. I can show you the injury. This is what my car was. Exactly. Um, yeah, dealing with insurance. Now, during this time, when I decided to create CBP, Chaos Before Peace, because I had no other choice, during those moments, I had no income, I had no explanation, or I had no concrete explanation for my job yet, and I had no way of even moving. I was someone my entire life, I had everything. And in the matter of a second, I did not know anything. In the midst of going through car insurance by myself, the injury by myself, navigating where my next income, navigating how I am going in navigating where my next is going to be, it was pressure that I at the time identified as room to grow, when now I would look back and say that was room to slow down. Now, in September to October, I was living. I traveled to Vegas for the first time in September, absolutely fell in love. And when I came back from Vegas, I decided to take a step away from CBP because I knew I wasn't ready. I was still going through all I was going through. I was still uncertain. I was still questioning. And in Vegas, I saw the place I wanted to start my next chapter in life. And I said, I don't need to rush what is mine. And therefore, to fully, stepping back allowed me to fully delve into all I wanted to get into, if that makes sense. Now, come October, my paid leave ran out, and I decided, again, I told you, I'm insane, but I decided to drain my bank account of all the money I had earned from my previous job to make sure. When I say it, I laugh because I said I would never say this out loud, but um, to make sure that when I start over for this dream, it is fully me. Now, saying that, yeah, it's insane. I decided to drain my bank account having car bills, phone bills, health insurance bills. I mean, I decided to drain my bank account while I was still tied to American system conditioning ways. I um drained everything because I wanted this new chapter to start without a safety net, and I wanted this new chapter to start with me fully in it, not one foot in, one foot out. In December, in one of the roughest points of this journey, I turned in my badge at a time where if I would have been sharing with others possibly what I was going through, turning in my badge to everyone would have looked like you've lost your mind. And maybe I did. Maybe I have. But I say no because I stand here today on the other side perfectly okay. Right. From about mid November, from about December to mid January, I had, when I say I had nothing, I want you to remember I just months ago was making six figures, just purchased a new car, living in Miami, traveling willy nilly, to now torn hamstring, messed up right knee, messed up left shoulder, can't work out. Like nothing. Okay. So when I say nothing, I mean nothing. And I had to sit in that every single day. my I'm someone, my entire life, you ask me, who are you? Who are you? What do you like? What do you do? I would answer with everything I've accomplished, everything I had, everywhere I've traveled, what I make, my job. As every American, we base our value of ourselves with how many things we can attach to ourselves. And for me, when I had to sit with myself and after feeling so superior and good about myself when all of those things were gone, including my car, because I had a rental car because the insurance company was going back and forth. It was just having absolutely none of that, in having to look in the mirror every day and create a company and find beauty and find courage and find strength and do, was one of the hardest things I have ever done. And in the beginning of it, I was so mad at myself. I mean, why'd you drain your bank account? What is wrong with you? Why do you think starting your own company is easier than working for someone? Who do you think you are? I mean, livid at myself. It wasn't really until I stopped being mad at the decisions I made and started embracing them and embracing that's who I am. I wouldn't have made any other decision. I don't know any other decision. And exactly like what I said when I started the beginning of this, if you told me I had to get to this point with going through everything I already went through again, I guess I would say yes. I would say yes. I would say yes. I would say yes. But for other people, I wouldn't rip the band-aid off as much as when I had none of that, I had to still find all of that. And a lot of what I learned and what this podcast will be is the productivity, the money, the accolades, the life that they've given us is for that purpose, that reason of your attachment, of that is who you are, that is what you chase. I mean, in America, it's capitalism. A huge part of how I got here is through those super dark times of finding myself in my light with absolutely nothing to attach it to but believing in myself in that light, has led me to understand a lot of the life that we live, the money, the productivity, the accolades, is on purpose. They gave us these tools, these, means of security, or, the stability with the job to prevent you. And, I realized that the money, the productivity, the life, it all is built on this human system of us thinking we are good people because we have a good credit score, or we're great people because we own a home, or I am a hardworking person because I put in 8 hours of my day into someone else's dream, when I had no choice but to sit and still feel joy for myself without clocking in, without having six figures, without having a productive day. How could you still find joy? How could you still understand life? How to show up when no one's watching, how to feel as powerful as I say I am with none of the things that made me feel powerful. Those questions were uncomfortable, but who I found on the other side of that was me. And, not Sydney as an athlete, not Sydney as an employee, not Sydney as how hard I can work, how much I can offer, but Sydney as a human being, as who she is, as who she says she is, and confirming all that I felt for myself in this life is exactly who I say I am, and I'm capable of quite literally whatever I want to accomplish. And that is something we all have. Coming back to Chaos Before Peace now, I come back a completely different human being than I was last year in any time of my life. I have sat through some of the hardest moments of my life by myself and still chose myself, this life, and this journey when it could have been easier to go back. Coming out on the other side of this, standing fully today, where just January I didn't know if I was going to make it, gives you testimony, courage, belief, power like no other. Chaos Before Peace exists the way it does because this brand is built off my lived experience. No aesthetic, no performing, and I realize that is something that can never be rushed or timed. This company, these episodes, what's to come, are not anything that can be faked, curated, or made up. This company, this story, I have earned it, and you will hear and you will see from February to now. Scratch that. My whole life, I've positioned myself to get here. My peace today comes from sitting, working, believing, learning, unlearning exactly who I am with nothing. Learning and believing I am someone, I am everything, I am here, I am enough, I am building, I am creating, I am abundant. I built this company for a plethora of reasons, but one of the main ones is because I built this for those who know or feel as though they are standing inside of a life that doesn't feel like it's right for them, doesn't feel like it's meant for them, and doesn't feel like they understand how it got to this point. I built this company for everyone who feels like they have this burning desire inside to live differently, create more, but scared of chasing their dreams. I built this for those of you who want different, who want more, who want to understand what it means to live if you don't associate who you are with everything you've accomplished, what it means to be you, what it means to live how you want, the way you want. I built this for us. I lived it first, and now we can talk about it together. Welcome to CBP Voice. See you next week.